Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade today giving you the lowdown on everything you need to know about Oblivion Remastered finally being revealed and stealth dropping. Just like I told you guys it would, it actually absolutely happened and it's incredibly successful already. Over 100,000 players. In fact, it's looking likely to break the 200,000 mark this weekend, and that's only on Steam alone, not even counting Xbox and PlayStation. Pretty much sold over 2 million copies in a space of like 12 hours. So I'm going to take you through a few bits of info about the Deluxe edition and what to expect, the upgrade price if you're playing it on Game Pass, and maybe some slight negative news. It does look likely there will be no mods on Xbox or PlayStation in the future. I've got a ton of guides incoming, brand new fresh, with all the new revamped gameplay, showing you everything you need to know about the Deluxe DLC, the DLC they had from 20 years ago pretty much, as well as obviously regular in-game stuff like the best weapons, how to get money and more. So make sure you're subscribed and let's go. So after weeks and weeks of leaks, and yeah, sometimes some of the leakers getting some of the dates wrong, it did actually drop, and it is in the week that most of the leakers were saying. Shadow dropping was a bold move, but something Todd Howder's always wanted to do, and it seems to have paid off. 182,000 players at peak in the early hours of the morning. With previous games that have come out like this, I'm predicting well over 200,000 players at peak come the weekend when it's the most busiest. 2 years ago, Sons of the Forest hit 2 million copies sold within the first 24 hours of going live, and they had a peak of 250,000 players. So if Oblivion does hit 200,000 players on Steam alone, that is close to 2 million copies on that platform, and then factor in Xbox and PlayStation, which amount to about the same combined. So you're looking potentially at 3 to maybe even 4 million people that have bought the game across all platforms. Of course, admittedly, Game Pass will eat into a lot of them sales on Xbox, so yeah, I'm still saying it's about 2 to 3 million. And the game is mostly a really faithful recreation, adding and improving little features, but not necessarily redesigning the whole thing. Of course, the looks of the game are what's going to be the most pronounced and different, and up to maybe modern standards or close enough. And I've got to say, at times the game does look stunning. I played over 2 hours last night on my Xbox Series X, and I found the character models, the amount of detail, the weapons, the gear, the armors, and a lot of the dungeons and stuff I was exploring really just fantastic. The lighting is absolutely stunning in certain places for sure. The reflections on the water and just the shadows, it's really cool. That said, I have got a couple of little minor criticisms. People's fears about the game becoming something less vibrant and pretty much browns and deep greens, which don't look maybe as popping, are kind of true. This is a natural consequence of making things more realistic in better 4K structures, as well as obviously pictures with high resolution. I definitely felt a bit more pronounced on the Xbox Series X, and with the Unreal Engine 5 it seems to be something with them and foliage, especially when you're looking at trees in the distance. They kind of look a little bit off, almost blocky like. It might sound like minor quibbles, but it's just something I've noticed across a wide range of Unreal Engine games, except maybe Avowed, with its low levels in terms of not having a full open world. The vibrance in that and the draw distance was amazing. And it's pretty good here once it loads in, but every time you come out of a building, you do notice it basically materialising in front of you, the scenery and stuff, which can be a bit jarring. But the sound design is fantastic. They seem to have added more features to stuff, even from horse riding and hits. The graphic effects are much improved with hit reactions from enemies, a whole bunch of stuff happening now with actually being able to hit certain body parts and they'll react sometimes. The core features, if you've somehow missed all this, have been improved, like archery. The UI has obviously had a big revamp to make it more simple and I would say understated. It's less confusing to use. There's multiple D-pad shortcuts if you're playing with a controller. That will take you to either your map, your magic, or your inventory. It still has a lot of the same menu kind of qualities, but it's definitely been simplified and made a little bit easier. There's also a brand new help screen, which can give you a lot more info on stuff if you're stuck. It's a nice touch with the compass telling you how many steps it's going to be till you get to your objective if you really circle in on it. And yeah, other things have been improved as well, like stealth. Some things have remained. The lock picking is still the same, but it seems to have been given just a little bit more of a tweak in terms of showing you, or hearing especially, when to open a lock correctly or not. And the persuading has changed with the UI, but it's mostly the same. Although you could argue it's not as clear sometimes if you don't get above a certain percentage number with these colours. It can still look a bit too muted and maybe a bit hard to decipher. There are, though, some concerns about crashing already. A bunch of people were commenting in my live stream saying that things from crafting potions was crashing reliably pretty much every time they were doing it. Others were saying that they hard crashed, completely bricked their console at times, and they lost literally all their progress and had to restart after 3 hours. And when you check some of the Steam reviews and some of the stuff on Reddit, it does seem to be happening quite a lot. There's also some issue with over-spawning mobs. This happened to me with some goblins attacking the farm. You should only expect to see maybe 3 or 4 goblins, and in tiny small waves. But literally I had a whole ton of them. When I turned my back, there was like even more suddenly just spawning. And I have seen pictures of this also happening with some of the early quests where you've got the Mythic Dawn cult members attacking you, and the Emperor. Seemed to be a ton of people and bodies there too. I ended up dying here, reloading, and then it was fixed. I only had to face maybe 4 or 5 of them. And I guess, yeah, lastly, looking back at the footage now, it didn't seem this dark when I was playing, but it does feel like there is definitely a need for brightening it and sharpening some of the textures. But as I said, it's mostly the foliage in the distance. But all in all, I'm pretty impressed. Do let me know though, what's it running like on a Xbox Series S? What's it happening with PlayStation? There doesn't seem to be a huge amount of options for graphics on consoles. They have got a performance mode on the Xbox Series X, as well as a quality mode. And I did notice in quality mode, it did kind of have not a stutter, or not necessarily like a slideshow, but just felt slightly, a bit more stilted and not as smooth. In fact, I had to put it onto performance mode because I was starting to get a bit motion sick. But being able to change the FOV on consoles for the first time as well, which is really important to some players, that's really good. And I'm sure on PC there's a whole host of options to hopefully improve. That's what I'm thinking anyway. I'm going to be trying out on PC hopefully a bit later on. Now, you'll be a bit hard pressed to find the info directly and officially. You have to go through the Bethesda support pages to learn that the game will not support officially mods. Now, this is nothing really new. Apart from delivering the curation kit for their previous games, they don't really actually sign off and say, hey, we're going to really make sure that mods are supported, because they don't want to run the risk of anything going wrong with them and then take the blame for bricking your game or your saves. But the game is moddable, on PC at least, so it's exactly the same system as the original. You can literally load. There are already nearly 100 or plus more mods being put up already. But according to a few more of the articles that I'd read, it does look like they will not transfer over the system for modding to Xbox and PlayStation. Now, this is a huge shame, obviously, given the popularity of this type of mods on PlayStation, Xbox, with Fallout 4, with Skyrim. So to not do it for the Oblivion game, which potentially could tide us over for the next 4 or 5 years until the next Elder Scrolls comes out, it does feel a bit rubbish. You never know if that will change. It's very vague in terms of what they're saying about not supporting, and obviously unofficial support for mods has always existed. But without them specifically implementing the same system that they've got for their previous games onto console fans will not be able to play mods. And yes, there was a deluxe edition, obviously. Is it worth it? Well, it basically does give you some extra armor sets and some horse armor and some weapons, and that's pretty much it. Oh no, you do get the soundtrack actually and the art book too. The base game being $50 or $49.99 actually is a really pretty good deal. I thought they would honestly charge full price games prices like they did with Avowed and others. I actually think $49.99 for a 20-year-old remaster, that seems to offer quite a lot in terms of quality, and obviously all the old DLC from 20 years ago, including the Shivering Isles and Knights of the Lion, that's all part of the base game. You can see this when you click on the standard, it includes it, plus all the additional smaller DLCs like the horse armor as well. The Deluxe edition does have these extra ones. It pretty much amounts to just 2 quests. One of them you'll pick up from a note in the Plaza of Talos inside the main Imperial City. And the other one, I'm still working on the guide for it right now, but I'll definitely show you guys how to activate all of it and find all of the armor and weapon stuff. So I'm not getting any commission or anything. It's up to you whether or not you think it's worth paying an extra $10, £10 to go ahead and buy the deluxe edition. But it is sold separate, even on Steam. So if you want to just get the base game and check out this stuff later on, you can absolutely do so. And on Game Pass, same deal, just pay £10 and you get the quest. So yeah, is it worth it? Definitely if you really like the look of the art style and the soundtrack as well. But I wouldn't say £10 for 2 quest lines. Just giving some extra armor and weapons in a game that's got so much is maybe that worth it. After the initial announcement, reveal and obviously stealth drop, there was a dev stream. They went through a bunch of stuff. It's kind of annoying to see the devs taking up most of the screen but only seeing the actual gameplay in a small square for quite a lot of it. But still interesting if you want to hear their thoughts and stuff about what they did with the remaster. I had to watch this because it's a chunky boy, 120 GB as predicted. Yeah, that took a long time, 4 hours for me and my bad internet. But there we go. Who knows what's going to happen, like I said, with mods in the future, but for now, it's not supported on console. Are they going to bring in creation paid mods? Maybe. If they can create some brand new content for it, I don't see why they maybe wouldn't do that, but that would kind of be a bit of a kick in the teeth not to have the free mods alongside it. And mostly the reviews are kind of okay, 82% positive on Steam right now. And as I said though, apart from some of the crashing issues and maybe overspawning of enemies and a bit of sharpening up on console, I think it's actually gone pretty well. So let me know, are you going to be low life in this the next 2 weeks? Are you looking at it and going, nah, it's not for me? Has it lost all of its original charm? Do you like the new looks? Do you like new gameplay elements they've improved? Let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll see you for more Oblivion Remastered guides incoming soon.